News 13 is your local election headquarters, and the South Carolina Republican presidential primary is less than 2 weeks away now. The two left standing, former President Donald Trump and former South Carolina Governor and UN Ambassador Nikki Haley. Saturday in Lexington County, I spoke one-on-one with Ms. Haley and discussed several subjects, including her plans for changes in Social Security and Medicare.
Well, I think, first of all, you look at what Trump's wanting to do. He wants to cut 24% of Social Security and not do anything. We want to say, no, we need to keep our promises to those that have paid in and that should get it. So everybody that's invested in the system now won't be touched. But for those who are in their 20s, like my kids that are just coming into the system, those are the ones we change the rules on them. We change their retirement age to reflect life expectancy. Instead of cost of living increases, we do increases based on inflation. We cap the benefits on the mega wealthy, and we expand Medicare Advantage plans so that they can have more competition in their health care.
Let me ask you too, there's probably no doubt Tim Scott would not be in the U.S. Senate without you. And there's also a chance that Governor McMaster wouldn't even be governor if it weren't you. How does it make you feel to see these two and other Republicans in South Carolina actively campaigning against you and being pretty nasty at times?
You know, people have to sleep with their decisions, so we'll let them sleep with that. You know, there's no surprise that the political class in D.C. is surrounding Donald Trump because I've called for term limits. I've called for them to stop trading in the stock market. I've said if they can't get us a budget on time, they shouldn't get paid. I've said the way we deal with the VA is every member of Congress should get their health care from the VA. I've asked for mental competency tests. You know, the South Carolina political establishment is not with me either. But that's, you know, you look at Governor McMaster, you know, I get asked about that. That's the same person I defeated when I ran for governor the first time. You know, the political elite, other than that, they're upset that I've required them to have to show their votes on the record and not hide them by voice votes. They're upset that I made them disclose their income so that taxpayers could see who paid them. They're upset that I vetoed $500 million worth of port projects that I thought taxpayers shouldn't be paying for. I have fought the political elite my entire career. I don't want their endorsements. It's the people of this great state that I want to get their endorsement.
Many Republicans, though, think that Donald Trump did a good job 4 years ago.
Well, I'll tell you, they talk about how good his economy was, but at what cost? He put us $8 trillion in debt in just 4 years that our kids will never forgive us for. He proposed a 25-cent gas tax increase per gallon when he was president in 2018. He now wants to put a 10% tax on every family by putting tariffs and going and taxing every import that comes in, from our baby strollers to our appliances. That's not how you build up an economy. You build up an economy by taking care of small businesses. You build up an economy by putting money back in people's pockets. You build up the economy by not going in debt, but by growing the economy in our energy sector and other places. We have a different way of doing this. Republicans and Democrats spent like drunken sailors under Trump's watch. When I go in, it's time to have an accountant in the White House. It's time for all this wasteful spending to stop, and I'll make sure that happens.
What, outside of winning this primary in South Carolina, what would be a win for you? Would a 10-point difference be a win?
I think we have to be competitive. You know, we started with 2% in Iowa, we ended up with 20%. We went into New Hampshire, we got 43% of the vote. That's 43% that Trump as a Republican incumbent didn't get. Here in South Carolina, we want to be competitive again as we go into Michigan and Super Tuesday. The goal is just to keep closing that gap.
What is being competitive?
I think the press will decide what's competitive, but at the end of the day, like we did in New Hampshire, we want to be competitive. We want to show that we're continuing to move the ball. We don't do coronations in America. As much as he said he's going to bar permanently anyone who supports me, that's not what a presidential candidate does. You're supposed to bring people in. As much as he said that he wanted to be named the Republican nominee and push the RNC to do it, that's not what you do. You've got 47 other states that need to vote, and we want people to vote in this country to be able to decide what their choice is. So we're saying let them get out there and vote. I think when they see everything for itself, they know the fact that 70% of Americans don't want to see Trump or Biden in an election. The majority of Americans disapprove of Biden. The majority of Americans disapprove of Trump. We also need to look at the fact that with the country in disarray and the world on fire, do we really want two 80-year-olds as our candidates for president? Because we need somebody that can put in 8 years to get our country back on track, to prevent us from going to war, and to make sure that our kids and future generations have a country they can be proud of.
So you think Donald Trump is too old?
Absolutely. I mean, I think it was just a few weeks ago, he got me confused saying that I should have put Capitol Police in the Capitol on January 6th. I've never had a job in D.C. I've never been in charge of security. Later, he said he was confused with Nancy Pelosi. When you get older, you diminish. It's not just Joe Biden, it's Donald Trump. Do we want to have two 80-year-olds when we've got the world on fire and our country in chaos? We don't. You don't fix Democrat chaos with Republican chaos. It's time that we get this right.
However, time may be running a bit tight for the Haley campaign. Trump has huge leads in all the polls, including the polls in South Carolina.